Welcome to episode 5 of A Thriving You, where it is your cozy space for all things self-growth, mindset shifts, and stories that will help you level up in your life. So for today's episode, I really want to dive deep into how we can reinvent ourselves in 2025. I know the new year is just looking around the corner, and if you're one of those people that gets really anxious that the new year is coming soon, and you feel like you have not changed much as a person, or you're not where you wish you're at right now, and you start to compare your current self to last year, I want you to stick around and let me just help you shift your perspective into how we can actually take control of the situation. Because at the end of the day, you can be disappointed in yourself, you can get overwhelmed or like anxious. You're like, oh my gosh, I'm not where I'm supposed to be. I'm supposed to be at this and that, but here I am, still back in square one. I want you to stop thinking all of that for a second and really dive deep into how we can actually take control of the situation now. The only thing that we can control is actually the way we live our lives and the way that we take our actions now. So let's focus on the present. And I've definitely seen content where, they say that you're only left with X amount of days, time to lock in by the time you reach 1st of January 2025. And I do think that it is a good thing where, you set goals for yourself so that you are quote unquote ready for the new year. However, I find that when you enter that with an all or nothing mindset, it is just going to be toxic for you because you're going to put unnecessary pressure and stress that when you start to not follow through any of the priorities that you set on your checklist for, let's say, 1 or 2 days, you think that, oh my gosh, I've gone off the rails. Let's just give up, and not do it anymore. Or you feel like you're constantly like restarting yourself all the time. At the end of the day, you're just dreading it. You're not enjoying the process at all of trying to reach your goals. But also, I do have to ask, like, why is it that we put unnecessary pressure or stress to ourselves that, oh, the deadline is 1st of January 2025. I have to be, entering the new year perfect. Like, you don't have to enter the new year perfect because there's no such thing as perfect. It is just a stress and standards that you put on yourself unnecessarily. So instead of doing that, I want you to take a step back and let's talk about how we can reinvent ourselves for the new year in a really realistic way. And everyone can do it. Health, relationship, mindset, and finances. Those are the 4 things that I urge you to really think about. What is it that works and what didn't work? What happened? What didn't happen? And really dive deep into each single topic for each quarter of this year and find out, okay, you know what? I really set out to make, let's say, $10,000 this month. But for that quarter, I only managed to reach like 8,000. So really think about, okay, so if you made $8,000, what is it that works and didn't work? What are some of the habits that were hindering your progress? And what were the obstacles that you went through? When you actually break it all down in a way that is so easy to see, it becomes so much more easier for you to audit your life, whether, should you keep doing this certain thing or should you stop doing the things that you thought worked, but actually it didn't work out at all. So really reflect on what happened the past year in quarters, aka in chunks, so that it's easier for you to see through every single thing. Now that we're done being self-aware and honest with ourselves after doing the life audit, let's move on to the fun stuff, which is let's visualize, plan, and define what is a dream life for 2025. There are no limits to this because this is something fun and exciting for you to really sit down and think about the things that you really want to achieve for 2025. And if you are starting to feel demotivated at this because you're like, oh, I've done this before, I've done this last year, the year before that, and still like nothing happened. But I want you to take this into a fresh perspective where, you know what, this is a year where I'm actually going to do the things that I told myself that I'm going to do. Think back of all the times where you half-ass yourself to doing certain things and then you expect a great outcome out of this. You cannot do the same things or do things half-ass and expect a different outcome. So let's do something different. And the thing is, let's set up a plan, right? Define what are your goals and what are the things and actions that you want to do that will help you reach your goals. Like, what is it that you want? Do you want to build like a 6-figure business? Okay. Let's put that. Now, I want you to be really specific because the moment you put, okay, I just want to build a 6-figure business. Okay, that's great. But what business is it? Like, you have to be really specific so that once you have clarity, that's when you know which direction to go. If you're being really vague, you have no idea what it actually is, you're just being really generic about it, then that is why you're going to go astray with your goals. You're not going to quote unquote follow the plan because you feel like you have no direction, when the moment you have clarity of where you want to go, you know that it's your goal. So whatever path that you go, you will still reach that goal. So I want you to really think about what is it that you want to achieve in 2025. You can make it as fun as possible, whether it is big or small. I want you to really write it down and not set any limits to yourself, because we are so much more capable than we think we are, and we can definitely achieve the things that we really set out to do. And another fun thing to support this is to do up a vision board. I love the concept of initially finding visuals that will reflect the life that I want. Whatever it is, once you write it down, like your goals, you write it down and you have visuals that you can see every single day, it will definitely set the tone for the day when you intentionally look at it and visualize it and then work for it. Because I know vision boards get a lot of bad rap sometimes, where people are like, oh, you're trying to visualize and manifest by not doing anything at all. Like, that is not the case. When you manifest and visualize, you're not just, putting up pretty pictures on a wall. You are essentially building a vision and where you can see it and visualize it every single day. And at the same time, work for it, because things are just not going to come where you just sit down and do nothing. Like, no, this is life. You have to work for it. But doing all these things like vision boarding and writing down your goals, that will help you keep you motivated to push forward. And also, whenever you feel like you're doubting yourself, you can always look back at your why. Look at your vision board, look at your goals, like, okay, that's where I'm going. Remember why you're doing this. And that is why also you have to really think about, when you create your goals, really figure out a why. Your why has to be strong enough that it has to mean something to you. Because if you create goals that are really superficial in a sense, this is gonna sound really judgmental, doesn't it? Like, oh, your goals are so superficial, like it doesn't matter. Like, that's not the case. But if it's something that is super, oh, I don't know how to put this in a way that it doesn't sound wrong, but if your goals don't have a deeper meaning to it, it is just easier to not take the steps to do it anyway, because you know that you can do it the next year or the year after that. I hope that makes sense. So again, write down your goals, define what you want in 2025, and do your vision board. You can go on Pinterest, type things that you want for your 2025. I like to do one where I have it on my screensaver, like on my phone, like wallpaper, and also on my laptop and computer screen, so that every time, I switch it on, okay, it's a reminder, I see it. So yeah, that is one of the things. And now that we've done all of those things, the next thing to do is to create actionable steps that you can do in order to move forward and progress to the goal that you've been wanting. An example would be if you really want to, get your dream body, like you have a body goal, like specifically, you have to write down all the actionable steps that you can take. So maybe the first one is get a workout program, so that's structure. And the next step could be, okay, my nutrition. Maybe I need to hit a certain amount of protein intake every single day. Find out what is the amount of protein that you need to hit. Those are the small actionable steps that you can do in order for you to reach those goals that you set out in the new year. And I know I keep using health as an example because it's just really easy for you to kind of relate and visualize what I'm actually talking about. Let's say you want to start an Etsy shop business, think about, okay, what are the steps that you can take right now in order to start doing that. Maybe for the month of January, you can start to create an Etsy shop account, figure out what actually you want to sell. So those are the things that, take those small actionable steps so that it is realistic and it doesn't overwhelm you. Because the last thing that you want to do is to overwhelm yourself to a point that you don't feel like doing it at all. Now, taking actionable steps, it's one thing, but staying consistent is another. So that's why I recommend tracking your progress, whether you track it on your phone or on Notion, that's what I typically do, or a notebook where you write it down, keep track of your progress so that it is just easy for you to see. And I know that a lot of people use this big ass calendar. I'll put the picture here. I've not used it before, but I've seen so many people use it that I'm really inclined to get it for myself. However, I have no space to actually put it up. Um, but it is a big ass calendar where you can see the overview of what you are going to do for the rest of the year. And I think that is also a great way to track progress as well, because the thing is, when you track your progress, you can see the overview of the month. And if you miss out on like 1 or 2 days, but when you zoom out, you're like, oh, actually, I just missed out a little bit, like probably like 5% out of the 100%. And that's okay, because you are getting 1% better every day. That when you actually stay consistent and you look back at the past 12 months, you're like, shit, I actually did a lot of things, and it's just like tracking progress when it comes to fitness. Again, I'm sorry, I'm going to use that example again. Like if you take progress pictures or progress videos, even though there are days where you feel like I don't see any progress at all, when you look back at it at the end of it, you're like, you know what, I actually did make progress. And your mind will start to tell you like, oh, you're not making progress, you should give up. That is the reason why you need to start tracking your progress, and start tracking your journey so that you know that, okay, this is what's going on, this is what I'm doing. And if, let's say, you have been not keeping track, you won't know, you won't know, even though you've already made progress. I do have to say, if you have an accountability partner, that's even better. And that is why I realized the importance of hiring coaches. I remember watching a clip from a podcast episode. I cannot remember who is it from right now, but she has like different coaches in different aspects of her life. And I've seen the comments where people think it's ridiculous. But when you think about it, sometimes when you lack accountability, you need someone to hold you accountable for the things that you do want to set straight in your life, and that's why having coaches or mentors is a good thing. And if you cannot afford that, you can always find someone who is going on the same journey as you. For me, I really love to utilize social media. People always say like, oh, if you have a goal, don't say it out to people, because in your mind, you think that you've already achieved it by just announcing it. But I do have to say that there's also, advantages to it where, okay, you announce it on social media, people hold you accountable, and you feel like, okay, shit, people are watching and people are expecting me to do it, and I will show up for the people that were initially rooting for me, And the thing about social media, when you put yourself out there, when you're documenting your journey, whatever it is, whether it is a business you want to build, you want to get to your dream body, or you want to, build a community, whatever it is, like people will always relate to people. Because sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, even when I am speaking to the camera, sometimes I feel a bit performative, like I'm not speaking to another person just because I feel like, oh, it's a camera, I have to like be a host and really perform, basically just, be performative about it. But I do want to not talk at you, I want to talk with you, like, okay, we're having a conversation. Like right now, I feel like we're having a conversation, except you cannot, reply in an instant, but you can, chat in the comments. That's a discussion, right? Where am I going with this? Yeah, so when you set accountability on social media, it really does help. And people, again, like to connect with people. Sometimes, even if that person is not on the same journey as you, they can be inspired by the actions that you're taking to better your life, or they can also relate to certain things that's happening in your life. They can relate to, your circumstances, your personality, depending on what you choose to put out on the internet. Because I think people fail to realize that when you do put yourself out there on the internet, you can pick and choose what you can, broadcast to the world, essentially. And, I'm all about transparency, but at the same time, I'm also protective of, certain things that I do want to keep private in my life. That being said, having something to keep you accountable, whether it is documenting your journey online, having a mentor or a coach, or having, a friend or like a buddy. I hate that word buddy, but if you have like a partner that keeps you accountable to, go towards your goals, I think that is a huge advantage. Because if you have a great support system, you will thrive even further when it comes to reaching your goals. I really hope that this episode helped you in one way or another. I know that when it comes to the new year, we're so excited because it feels like we're starting on a clean slate where, okay, new year, new me. I know people are like, oh, so cringe, new year, new me. It's like, I think it's okay, like I'll be the first to say, like, it's okay to enter the new year and be a newer version of yourself. And I'm not saying like you're completely changed or whatever, but it's new because you decided to become, a better version of yourself or like the best version of yourself. So yeah, new year, new me, bitch. Okay, but I really hope that you enjoyed this episode. And if you made it this far, honestly, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And if you enjoy content like this, I would really appreciate it if you will to like and subscribe. If you're watching this on YouTube or if you're hearing this on Spotify, you can, give a rating if you would like. I would honestly like genuinely appreciate it. Like for me, one of my I guess goals and resolutions for 2025 is to grow a community on YouTube where we can essentially level up our lives together, as cheesy as it sounds, because I do find that, anything that has to do with like self-growth, self-development, where we can, grow and progress together as, incredible humans in a society is amazing. So I do want to, foster and grow and build this community that we have on YouTube. So yeah, I appreciate you for being here. And honestly, don't stress about the new year. Like, don't. Like, if you find yourself comparing your 31st December 2024 to last year, 31st December 2023, I want you to take a step back and take a deep breath in. Breathe out for like 6 seconds. Like, it is okay. If you are in a situation right now where you don't feel great about yourself, know that it is only temporary, like you will get out of it a better person. And I know that there's a better life for you waiting on the other side. Start taking charge of things that you can control and let go of the things that you cannot control. Because if you were to every time try to take control of every single thing that cannot be controlled, like literally it cannot be controlled at all, like you are going to burn yourself out and you're just going to be chronically stressed. And 2025 is not the year where we get our cortisols up high. Okay, we need to lower it down and maintain it. Like the only good stress that you can have is the things that will benefit in your life, not like the kind of stress that will make you fall sick, So enough of babbling. I'm going to end it off by saying that reinventing yourself is a gift to your future self. I really want you to envision this version of yourself. Okay, this is the kind of feeling that I want that future version of myself to feel. Like really feel into it, because you're capable. Like it is possible for you to reach the other side of success or whatever it is that you define as successful in your life. So lean into yourself and finally step into your full potential, because I know that you can and you deserve it. So thank you again for listening, and I'll see you in my next episode. Bye.